It was great being on the field. And, I mean, a coach wants to coach, and got to be out there and didn't try to take the tail end of that question too much. As the head coach, you just want to make sure you're having a good practice and guys understand what they're doing. And it's always tough with a new group, and so it was fun.
Did Tanner take all or most reps on defense?
Yeah.
Is that a permanent thing?
I think we can get a little bit of. We might be able to kind of start him there, and then we're going to get him some work on offense too.
Quarterback?
Probably receiver.
How do you envision splitting up the reps at quarterback?
Well, Joel's our starter, and then we'll get. We've got two true freshmen, and want them to. You got to learn by doing some things. You can't jump in, but at the same time, you don't want them to be working on stuff that they don't quite understand. And then I think Bart and Devin can get some work. So DJ, so we'll split it up, and I don't know if we got percentages, but Joel will take the ones, and Bart and DJ will get the twos, and we'll get the young guys some work.
How's the coaching staff coming together? How's working together?
Good. It takes time, but I've liked it. We got a good group of guys, good football coaches, and so I've liked it to this point.
Do you like what you saw out of becoming freshmen in their first college practice?
Yeah, I mean, they knew where to go. I mean, that's not easy, and yet I think the older guys do a nice job of kind of bringing them in and explaining what we're doing. So I thought they didn't look out of place, which was good.
Do you have a group of guys that will not practice at all this spring due to injuries, surgeries, that type of thing?
Yeah, there'll be a couple guys, and I'd have to go check my list to make sure. But we'll have some guys that won't see any action. I know Travis is on that, Dakota Dixon's on that. There's going to be some more. But we'll have a couple that won't.
There were a couple of position changes beyond Tanner. Connor Sanger looked like he was going with the wide receivers.
Going receivers, yeah.
We got
Jamerson
with the DBs.
DB's going to take a look at that right there. I think those are the two probably the most notable.
What was the back and forth with Tanner about how he was going to be used? How did you hash that whole thing out?
I had a chance to sit down and talk to him, and I think he's a guy that's got some pretty special abilities, and he can contribute in a lot of ways, I think, to this team. And I think for us to be a good team, get the most out of this team, we're going to need production out of him, and so I think there's certainly a need at safety, and yet I think there's some things that he can do offensively. One thing that in the short time that I've been with him, I think he understands the game, and mentally, I think we can do some things without putting too much on his plate that he can contribute in, I think, a number of different ways.
Your initial impressions of Cory Clement and the kind of preparation for him in the offseason, I guess, to get ready?
From being around Cory, he seems to me to be a worker and a guy that's intent on being as good as he can be. I've been impressed with that. First day for running back, it was not a lot that you get tested on, but I loved his approach, and I think when he steps on the field, he's all business. Appreciate that.
Cory's just one of those guys that's filling some big shoes that left the team last year. How do you think the team as a whole is going to respond to kind of filling, some of the shoes that Melvin Gordon and some of the other guys who left?
I think it's been a fortunate occurrence around here. Every year that there's really good players that graduate from this program. This year being no different, and that's the challenge and the opportunity that we have. Everyone's got to rise up.
What were your impressions of the team as a whole, especially at the end being on the first day?
I thought they worked today, and I enjoyed being on the field with them. It's a good group that way, so we just got to make sure that they're understanding what we're teaching and taking the coaching points. And I think the big thing is that we can get better. Each day you got to get better.
Jaden Galt is on your roster. Where does he fit, if at all, going forward?
Right now he's just focusing on school and nothing in the football side of the program.
Is it nice to be outside and have all the snow melted for the first practice?
It was great. It was great. A couple of the guys were wondering if we were going outside. This is summer in Wisconsin. This is good.
Last year, the staff tried to get Derek Watson as a tight end. With injury, they didn't really get to do that much during the regular season. You still been trying to look at him.
We'll see. He's in the same meeting room. Our fullbacks and tight ends are all in the same room, so whatever we need. I think he's a guy that's willing to do anything for the team. And as everyone develops, we'll find. Well, that's the spring ball. Find out what guys can do.